Good afternoon. This is the Thursday, September 3rd, 2015 meeting of the Athens City Planning Commission. All members are in attendance, and we have established a quorum. Is there anyone who wishes to address the commission today for...
May I add something? And I have to apologize for this. If you remember the last time that we were supposed to have wireless telecommunications and they thought it was Friday and did not show up, and they're here today, and I totally forgot about it. Forgot to put it on the agenda. So they came a long ways, and I apologize. Do we have the drawings, Char? I can go downstairs and get them from the meeting last time. Can we get it?
I have mine because I sent them on to Ohio University. And I don't know that they have a resolution on this yet.
I have that.
So.
Okay. I mean, they're here. I mean, if they weren't on the agenda, we can get copies if we can let them speak since they came. I apologize.
Okay, so this is 1512.
That would have been, was that the case, number, Char?
Well, let's look at the minutes there for a second.
I have one's plan sheet. In this, whether or not they were going to abide by this recommendation.
Okay, so let's ask them and get it over with.
So do we amend the agenda? What do we do here?
Yeah, I move to amend the agenda to include the case.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So that's unanimous. Okay. If there's anyone who wishes to address the commission today, if they would just raise their right hand, and do you solemnly swear to tell the truth as you know it to the Athens City Planning Commission? Terrific, thank you. Disposition of minutes, are there any
I had asked for
questions,
some
any
clarification, and Char incorporated that in terms of my discussion about the Athens Village and what their request was in the future for code review for live-in attendance.
So
I would move to
okay.
approve.
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
I'll abstain since I was absent last week.
Okay, so we have 4 in favor, 1 abstention. Okay. Anything else that anyone wishes to have clarified or add
For the minutes,
for the minutes?
did you need any clarification on how that was worded?
No, I mean, it's okay.
Okay.
Okay. Nothing else? Okay. Let's see, there are no cases today.
Well,
Let's say, I'm sorry, there's the one case. Let's see. Mr. Paskey, do you want to just go ahead and introduce that again?
Well, I can. I don't have my stuff here. Remember, it was just for a modification for wireless telecommunication at Alden Library. There was a miscommunication at the last meeting, and they were not present. And you had a few questions about permission from OU, or not permission, but acknowledgement that they were aware of it. And I think that was all that we had. And was there something else?
The second was this on the summary. It has a recommendation, not a requirement, and I wanted to hear
Right.
from the applicant.
And I did forward that request in an email that what may be requested, that they follow the recommendation of the engineers in regards to the masonry blocks being removed that were to reduce the weight or whatever, and I can let the gentleman that's here, I just saw he signed in, probably speak much more to that than I can.
Just say yes.
Do you care to come to the podium and, if you would, state your name and the company you work for, please?
My name is Dave Heenan, and I'm with Unified Business Technologies, and we represent an agent for Verizon Wireless. Regarding the recommendation, I'll just jump right into
Okay.
it. They would agree to that.
Now, it's my understanding that Ohio University is undergoing an Alden roof repair modifications or what have you. And my standing OU meeting this morning, doesn't seem that all the projects are lined. So I would be requesting a conditional approval conditioned upon Ohio University's approval of this project.
We work with the university. This happens quite often on rooftops. So it would be Verizon Construction coordinating with whatever contractor is working on the roof or doing the work. Those guys get together. Most times, in this instance, if it's a new roof, there's obviously a warranty on that roof. So Verizon Construction will work with that roofer to make sure all those warranties are upheld and in place and remain. And that would be the case for any existing warranty that's on the roof now.
I guess what I'm saying, I'm uncomfortable, authorizing your work on property that is not that is owned by the university that they're not clear yet in terms of their next steps on their Alden replacement. For example, some of the repairs they plan to do to the roof will require a crane and Park Place, and they're kind of stepping back to refigure when is the best timing with the student population here, et cetera. So that
I think part of the concern, if I may, is that sometimes coordination within the university and among the university facilities and projects sometimes don't always coordinate. So the concern, of course, is that you put new antennas on, and then a year later or 2 weeks later, they're trying to do the roof. I think that's what you're...
I am, and I mean, maybe it seems odd. It's just because when we received this last time we met, I sent this on to Ohio University, and then this morning when they talked about it, they said they have three different, they have this tower, they have the roof issue, and something else to do with Alden, and they were going to bring all their project managers together to try to coordinate these endeavors. So
It's their
it's
Well, and that's
So I
really,
don't know
I mean,
how
that's what Verizon Wireless opinion would be. I mean, we have a lease with the university for that communications facility on the roof, and we have to abide by those terms for notification, coordinating any work that's done there.
I can definitely note that on the permit, the condition that it's coordinated with the university, and they can give you a copy to forward to them.
And I don't mean to get into legal weeds here, but are we authorizing something that the property owner has yet to authorize, is what I'm asking. So
I would say no. I mean, we have a lease. I can give you a copy. I mean, that could be part of the record. It's a redacted copy of our rooftop antenna agreement with the university.
I'd love to have a copy for the record. But again, I'm not speaking to your lease with them. It's more the fact that I would feel that OU ultimately has the authorization, but without having to go to the legal review of the lease to determine the work.
Right, and that's covered in our lease. I mean, those things are very specific as to how they coordinate that work, who they talk to, what authorizations they need. So
I would say, in essence, we do that on every one of them because the towers are owned by somebody else, and every time there's a modification as well. So just this time that the ground land is the university, but anytime there's a Monticello, that's not owned by the people that are doing the work. That's somebody else. So.
Okay.
So you would like added for approval, you'd like on the conditions of Ohio University approving?
I would. I would move that, and plus incorporating what I heard you today is that taking the best practice recommendation from the summary of the engineering review.
And also with this, per our lease, the way that they have to notify OU, and that this was addressed to Mr. Stephen Wood, who's the facilities management, what they would be doing and when they would be doing it. And that this letter was overnighted and received. So I can submit this as well. This was in June.
I'd like to second it, but I'd like to add KSS job number 15098 for reference to the motion.
Okay.
Okay. it's
Get
been-
that, Char? Keys, structural assessment, KSS job number 15098.
So did I?
I second
Well, the
it.
motion has
Okay.
been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, you got it.
Next is communications, bed and breakfast discussions. Nancy, did you want to?
I would just like to move this forward,
Sorry about that.
Okay.
accomplish something in our term here.
Come on, you've got a few more years.
Okay, let's not start that one again. I was wondering if we could look at what Mr. Paskey sent us just for a minute, and then, I know I intend to go to council and talk to them about it. If they want to expand this to an R1 and an R2, I think they ought to have a hearing on it and hear from the other side. So I basically am not in favor for my neighborhood of this expansion to R1 and R2. And I feel like I just don't have to report to the voters anymore. And I feel like if I walk down the street, they might, if they walk down the street, they might hear a lot about it. Or are they hearing nothing because people are off and on?
Well-
So I'd like to move the simplified version forward, and if council wants to change it, have at it.
Okay,
They're the ones.
so if I'm looking at this right now, which is
Okay.
what's in our packet here, which is basically the first section is the 1503, which is transient guest tax to include bed and breakfasts. I'm looking at the highlighted sections here. And
What part were you talking about, Nancy? The bed and
I don't think it is,
breakfast or
yeah, that's
the-
why I'm questioning, because I don't see an R1, R2 stipulation.
No, I think there are people who are,
The group home, the residential care
no, it
facility?
has nothing to do with this. This is bed and breakfast.
Okay.
The only issue that I think we ended with is the one concerning how many bedrooms, and we were said 3. Mr. Paskey suggested we go 4, but I'm not impressed. I want to go 3 for a variety of reasons.
Don't we already have an existing bed and breakfast that exceeds that amount?
I think that it doesn't really matter what's been done in the past. Each case stands on its own. It's about time to, that's what I would say. Just go with that. I think Mr. Paskey's argument, not to steal his thunder, is that they're not covered. But, I don't see that as an issue. Because we have 1 to 3, and then everything above 4, or above 5 and above. I think that's what you said last time.
Right, so what happens to 4?
They're in Never Never Land, I guess.
Well, that's why I said 4, because the only time you can get, the way you're proposing this is it can only be in an R3 or greater neighborhood, greater, less than zoning, however you want to look at it anyways. Since an R3 allows for more than 3 people, that's why just to say it justifies to have 4 people in this, number 1. Number 2, it coincides with Title 1503 in regards to the transient guest tax of 4 or less or 5 or more, and it coincides with the State Fire Marshal's office and what units are inspected for bed and breakfasts versus what are not.
So if there's
So-
a 4, it wouldn't get inspected by the State Fire Marshal.
That is correct.
But if we had them have a permit, they would get inspected by Athens City.
But it doesn't coincide with our guest tax, and I'm not saying,
Well,
I
I guess I don't understand why. I don't think it's going to happen to the extent we see. And I don't see, but 4 bedrooms, look at the R3 zones and say how much are those worth in terms of their generated income? And can you see a bed and breakfast? I just see that as a non-problem almost.
well,
To add to when you
only
say you're not going
places
to see
you're
this
allowing it.
happen very much, we've just been alerted again this week there are multiple Airbnbs.
found
listed.
7 more yesterday.
Well, you know what? I think that's a problem that the higher authority or a different authority ought to deal with. Why would we change it so they can do, if they're acting illegally right now, according to our code, then why would we change it to make them legal? Give me a,
Okay.
Don't know if I'm saying that.
You're saying it's a problem and you have to crack down on it. There's an enforcement problem that's occurring right now.
All I'm saying is if it's just going to be presented only in an R3s and B1s, B2s, or whatever they may be, that we try to stay in line with state fire marshal, state building code, and other things that are already established, and the transient guest tax laws that are already established.
You just want to maintain the consistency.
That's all I'm trying to do.
Yeah, but consistency in this case might put us in some danger in another case. That's what we're thinking.
I think Nancy's concern, and my concern too, is that at a later date, somebody's going to say, okay, let's go to the R1s and R2s. And at that point, where we only allow 3 people in a house,
Three
an R1, unrelated in R1, now we have just allowed 4. So all the work that was done to whittle it down to 3 in the Hendrick administration, or whoever was doing that many years ago, now falls by the wayside.
Yeah.
Or gets lost in the
I understand exactly what you're saying.
Yes.
I'm just saying, as it's presented, of only being permissible in these zones to stay consistent. If it goes into R1s and R2s, then obviously we got a lot more to look
It'll go by
at.
a vote of council, and the council vote will be 7 or 6-2, and we won't have it. We won't see it again. Hence the 3. Your consistency, my consistency. I prefer to have 3 there. We can always up it if we find there's such a big demand for that consistency. But I also wonder about. I mean, I've heard landlords express the opinion that, gee, I have a housing permit. I'll do what I want with it. And I have had direct experience with that, which makes me a little nervous. Party house.
Council can always change the Title 15. Planning Commission cannot. But the City Council could if they wanted to allow these in R1s and R2s and then reestablish the
exactly
transient guest tax so that it reflects 3, then that can be done. But
Or just leave it as.
You mean they could change the transient guest tax?
I
don't know what the ORC reads.
well, that too. I do not know if it's an ORC law. That's an auditor's question.
I thought it was ORC.
It may very well be. Maybe.
I guess it's I know there's some support for it, but I do think, let's see, to include B and B 1 to 5 rooms. Oops. 1 to 3 rooms. If they don't do it, then they don't do it. I think you can ask council to do it. Pretty please, council. I'll go and argue with them. Okay, so you kind of defer to me, RJ. So what we have is a definition that includes owner-occupied or bred. I can't remember how we ultimately changed it myself.
Where's the definition?
Where's the definition?
It's in the back part.
Yeah,
A little bit
definition.
further back in that
As a
section.
condition of
Very
permitted
close
use?
to Kent's, yeah.
Is
very-
this-
Yeah, owner-occupied on a premises that only, yeah, that's not it. It's a,
This section,
231001.
definition. Should be further back in the packet.
Also in
Still in
99.
the section that we were modifying last time.
Okay, this is what they've landed on from the last meeting.
okay, we said 3 rooms, providing lodging with breakfast, a transient guest, and with a maximum stay of no more than 2 consecutive weeks. 1 space per guest room. We have to have a rental permit, which includes an annual inspection, so it's redundant. And, okay, so, I mean, I think we've got it there. Somebody said to me, why don't you use Kent's example? I think it was Lisa Eliason, and I said, I think we have used their example.
Nancy,
Yeah.
on that definition, I wasn't at the last meeting, but it looks like
You shouldn't go on vacation.
it looks like you guys crossed out the word paying. I think that's important to keep that in there because then
Here.
For compensation?
I think you have to. Otherwise, does this include when a friend of mine from out of town stays for the weekend and doesn't provide?
You think somebody's going to come in and get you on the weekend?
Or a Tuesday night? I mean, I guess that's what I would say. If my
I
parents
wish
come
they'd
visit
stop
for-
on my street and get the guys that have 5 cars in the front yard in a single-family zone. If they get them, then I'll believe that might happen.
So you want to add these words?
For compensation.
Am I right? I mean,
Just being.
So we're suggesting adding back in for compensation.
Rather than paying?
Well, that's okay if we're paying.
I think you need to just have the word paying in there, because if you take paying out, it's just saying that you're providing lodging with breakfast to transient guests.
Okay.
So if I have a transient guest, which might be a friend of mine or a family member who's visiting, who's not paying me anything, do I now have to get a bed and breakfast conditional permit? Is that legal in an R1, I guess, is what, based on that language?
I think the transient definition is, it's what's 29?
Friend stays with me for a weekend, they're a transient guest. They're a guest at my house, right?
I think the transient issue comes up in zoning. I mean, in interpersonal relationships, okay, but in zoning, because they're going to tag it for that use for additional demands for paying a rental permit, for inspection. What is transient definition?
I don't know that we have a definition. I mean,
well, I'm hoping we put one in the 99.
in 1503, it has a definition that specifically states as advertised or held out to the public.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
But we have to amend that to...
No, excuse me. Transient guest
Yes.
means a person occupying a room or rooms for sleeping accommodations for less than 30 consecutive days.
And we had 2 weeks in the code.
Right. But it doesn't talk about paying.
So you want, so would paying transient guests, keeping that paying in as works?
That keeps Paul out of
I don't know if it matters or not. It seems to
out
me
of the
that if you
weeds.
take paying out, you're getting kind of vague as to what is
I don't know why we
transient
took it
guest.
out. So
I would agree.
Right.
we were flailing around.
What about the 30 days definition there
Versus 2
the
weeks.
14? Yeah.
I didn't really care.
I think that needs to go in I think it definitely needs to be in the zoning code, because that's one of the things we got rentals in our code defined in the R1 section. And I get asked all the time, if a person has a rental permit, who's to say they can't have 3 people one weekend, 3 more people the next weekend, 3 more people the following weekend? That's a legitimate question.
That's what they're saying.
So what I'm sitting here saying is, if we need to put this transient language in there that greater than 30 days is a rental, less than 30 days is transient guest.
You want 30 days instead of 2 weeks, huh?
Well, again, I'm just trying to keep consistent with what's in 1503. That's all I'm trying to do here when I say that. But the other part that I noticed too is when I
Let's
read
just stay on that
this,
one. Could we?
it says means bed and breakfast home means an owner-occupied dwelling unit with no more than 3 guest rooms provided lodging with or to paying transient guests. This is the question that comes up all the time as well. It says 3 guest rooms. That means 6 people, husband and wife? Or are we going to say maximum 3 transient guests?
No, we're not saying that. We said rooms.
So you're going to leave it as rooms?
Yeah, I mean, how could you do that? Otherwise, you'd make each member of the family rent a different unit? I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I just want to bring it to your attention.
Yeah.
And they use rooms in the definition of transient accommodation back at 1503
Right,
or what.
Yeah, change that to 3.
Well, I don't know that I can. That's why we have to look at the ORC.
I don't know that it's even covered in there. All right, now, I guess now I'm going to go back and say, when we started looking at this, we were trying to kind of start the process rolling. We've removed the inns, and we're trying to just get it to the point we have 1 space per room, right? We've decided on that. Isn't that correct? One extra parking place plus the resident families places.
Or occupied.
With non-stackable.
Yeah, and the non-stackable because it's B3.
R3.
R3, pardon me.
R3 is basically you can't stack.
I mean, I don't see where the
it's
non-stackables identified.
What?
It's just it's not flowing with the rest of the code. We're trying to say that this one use, more than anything else, has a totally different parking requirements in an R3 than other uses.
What does the rooming house require?
If it's in an R3, they're already, you don't have to say non-stackable. It's not stackable is not permitted anyways.
Yeah.
So in an R3 or in the B zone.
Yeah, we established that a minute ago.
So that doesn't have to be defined. So we just say, but are you saying that if it is a rental in an R3, is it 1 extra parking? If it's a 3-bedroom rental in an R3, currently licensed as a 3-bedroom rental, they're required to have 3 parking spaces. Are we saying we're going to have 1 more parking space per, or would the 3 be adequate?
One that was I thought we did last week established 1 for the resident family and then 3 for the rooms
Because it's owner occupied.
because it's owner occupied. Yes.
Okay.
So you're saying they have to be owner occupied?
Well, at
Which
least for
owner
now.
occupied requires 2 spaces for the resident family.
Okay, then
Okay.
parking for the resident family.
Right now, this is, what are we looking at, 10, Table B, 2310, is it? Table B, off-street parking requirements. A dwelling, owner-occupied, single family, 2 for each dwelling unit plus 1 for each additional renter.
Right.
So,
So there should be 2 plus.
2
So it's already covered in a way.
That's already
Well,
covered. That's why I say we don't have to add this stuff if you're only going to allow it in the R3.
But, okay, motels, bed and breakfasts is in Table 10, B, I mean, says 1 for each living or sleeping space.
Well, then we'll have to delete that, won't we? Or recommend that they delete it? Delete bed and breakfast from that, and put it up
Possibly.
above.
Probably just take it out, yeah, I guess, I don't know, that's something, I'm just bringing up when you say...
They're already separated, are they not, on the table?
The one I have, which is from
Luckily, he has it.
2015, says no. It says basically restaurants, motels, and bed and breakfasts. They're not separated out.
And I remember when
Hotels
I was
are.
out, just
Hotels are different, 1 for each 2 bedrooms.
that's not enough.
But motels are not.
Okay. So you'd have to put bed and breakfasts in with, basically you're putting them in as dwelling units, under the dwelling unit condition.
I think it's reasonable.
Okay.
I mean, do you think it's unreasonable? Oh, no, I'm not going to ask you.
I just want to say again that the existing, we have 2 permitted bed and breakfasts right now, correct?
Existing, currently, an owner-occupied house is required to have 2 parking spaces for the residents and then 1 for every room they rent. So this is
We
basi-
have 2 operating bed and breakfasts.
But they are
Oh, I'm
both under
sorry,
the
yes.
Is
zoning.
that correct?
Correct.
They're very-
And neither of them are owner occupied.
True.
One of them is, you can argue about one of them, they live in the house next door. But no, not owner-occupied.
Okay, if it,
I don't want
yes.
to, you can't base it on something that, a zoning board decision. A zoning board means that the law, as it was written, did not help those people, so they got a special permit. I mean, they have a de facto right to that. I mean, no matter what we do, because they're non-conforming now, if we go with this.
Well,
Landborn's had a 1-year conditional permit variance.
and my argument
We
in
had to
both
change
of these cases is that it probably did not have to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals to begin with,
Well, I
because
didn't
they're in
send them.
business zones.
I didn't send them.
I did try to get them,
Okay.
but I questioned myself on that, and I admit that. So,
But
Do either of those serve breakfast?
Probably.
the one on Richland can if they request it, if the property, because they do live next door and they will do it if it's requested.
Landborn's
run
has
McDonald's.
ensuite.
But, you know, we're
you
we're
can
not going to
carry
check
your
on
own.
that, are we? We're not going to check on their breakfast.
Well, then let me ask that. Do we give some consideration as opposed to requiring breakfast versus breakfast? What word did you just use, Paul?
I think
McDonald's.
ensuite.
kitchenette available.
Right.
Or so that there's a way to cook your own breakfast or something.
Well, there is in the Lamborn thing.
Well, I think in terms of, one of the reasons you kind of have to think a little bit about what's existing is that if these properties don't have variances attached to them or don't have permanent variances attached to them, if anything would happen to these structures, it would destroy them up to 50%, that use couldn't be continued. They would have to change the use. They would have to bring the property completely into conformance. So that, you know, that is a consideration.
And they're so specific, I guess they probably, at least I'd assume, go to the zoning board and ask to have it back, even if it's more than 50%.
Yeah, well, I mean, if there's a permanent variance attached
Or
to
even
that
a
property,
condition.
then
But the
it
ones that
wouldn't be
we
an
got a
issue.
temporary
But
variance for a year.
yeah,
I know, but you can't write the code for something real specific like that.
I'm just trying to think of how they traditionally operate. If it's traditionally way back, you know, when maybe there was someone cooking breakfast, but if we made it the term accommodation or something.
Yeah, I think it's
grasping
an
at
idea.
straws.
But I mean, we're not going to check on the breakfast. The people who rent it will probably evaluate it, right? It could be just all prepackaged food. Some codes have that in it. You know, like a box of cereal and a box of milk and one of those live forever.
Energy bars?
No, I was thinking of a sweet roll, you know, ones that have so much.
Oh, right, they
Yeah,
live forever.
they'll live
Yeah,
forever.
right.
And, you know, maybe some bananas that are already, and that would, sounds like,
So I guess is the argument, let's remove the breakfast part from the definition, or let's just
let's move.
not worry about enforcing it?
Well, I don't know that we can. I mean, I don't know that. You could say-
Right. So that, I guess my question is, do we leave something in the code that's unenforceable and then put like John and people in
I
his
want him up on Columbia getting those 5 cars out of the front yard first. No, I mean, I guess that we're talking about what would be a standard definition. Now, you can go
Transient
to
guest
Michigan.
accommodations.
I like that. I like the bed and breakfast
That was the way it was
accommodation or
written in our
something.
1975 code. I looked it up the other day.
Really?
I'm gonna go
Transient
look.
guest accommodations.
Well, okay, transient guest, but not bed and breakfast.
Nope, not bed and breakfast.
I actually have one of those sitting on the floor. Okay. I'm not worried about that, as long as we, I would say, just as a note, I think that the B-zone lots are very small. I said that last time. I think they may be 22, 25, 40 by 125. And I think they're also very valuable. So I cannot imagine these would be built. I think they'll be fitted from an existing structure, which means it's good to have the inspections. But I really want to make sure that there is some supervision of this. I mean, when you go to the hotel, they impress your card, and there's management there. When you go to the motel, same thing. When you go to an owner-occupied bed and breakfast, you also have that oversight. If we have bed and breakfasts in this town with nobody responsible, it's going to be a little bit of a problem in some areas, I think. And I think that if you think about the possibilities there, then you can think about what that same house with the 5 cars had a couple summers ago, which is a party house. Rent it to a couple guys from Columbus and then bring them down all their friends and park on both sides of the road and commit mayhem. And I think that that's part of the reason why we have to craft this very tightly to make sure that it isn't a problem. Those of us on the North Hill are all concerned, I think, about security. And a transient, I mean, if you have your neighbor and the neighbor's managing the transient, okay. But if it's somebody in Columbus who rents it to somebody else, that's a problem, in my opinion. If you have a real estate agent, maybe you could send them to the zoning board, and they could require a contact person who's responsible.
We do with rentals. We require them to have a local contact so that we can contact them if there's an issue with that. And if maybe that's
Mine is
inferred since
dead.
they're getting we're requiring a rental permit with this.
I guess I think there's that level of responsibility. I mean, I don't think okay. I was just trying to express my own opinion on why I want to get this sorted out, because it's kind of a mess right now for the 2 people that have done it, and yet I don't want to open it up so everything goes.
Now, is the Airbnb going to be covered under this, or is that going to be a separate?
The way it's written right now, I don't think we have any problems about any of them ever happening, because we're only allowing it on R3s on specific streets, which I think is very limited in the number of houses we even have, which are probably none. Probably hardly any houses in.
So most of the Airbnbs are in R1s. And
Yes. I mean, the way this is right now, there are, I don't know,
I suspect before.
there's not many R3 properties. The streets that are
they're valuable,
permissible
too.
are not R3 zones. So therefore, makes them obsolete.
And they're very valuable properties right now. I mean,
But they're not R3s.
I mean, the R3 zone where they'd be conditionally permitted are valuable.
Right now, you'll have it conditionally permitted on specific streets. Those specific streets that are allowed do not have R3 zones.
Well, then why are we even bothered?
There we go. We are just talking about adding Stimson here and kind of definition, I think.
Well, see, I mean, that's what happens. You add words to the code, more words to the code, more words to the code, and you end up with a mess.
So John, you're
There's
saying
no
that,
R3 on
like the
Sims.
Airbnb and services similar to that, we would need a different setup for that?
No, I'm not saying, right now, those are all in violation, the ones that I know of that are going on. I sent an email yesterday to Airbnb, letting them know they are in violation. So the way the code is written, every Airbnb within the city, with the exception of Lamborn's and Christine Tom's, is in violation.
Even one, what's his name?
And if we pass this, the way it's structured right now,
Won't change,
it's still be in
they'll
violation.
still be in violation.
Because even though we're adding Stimson, they're not owner occupied.
Correct.
Okay.
But did they
But,
say
but,
the
but
conditional?
Paul's argument that he stated a long time ago is that he feels, and I agree, that these are permissible uses as the way the code is written in B zones.
And we're
That is a
making them
B zone
conditionally
on, that's a B
permitted.
zone on Richland, and it's a B zone on Stimson, that those likely could have been permissible uses.
Even though they're not owner occupied. Because
though
the
they're
present
not.
code doesn't require owner occupied.
That is correct.
Let me interject here. There's a resident, I think, who would like to speak. Okay, Ashley, would you like to come to the podium? Please state your name and address.
Mary wasn't sworn in. Mary wasn't sworn in.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, my name's Colin Donahue. I live on what some people call the Far East Side. I call the Sells Park neighborhood because of the amenities that are there. I don't follow a lot of local politics. I probably should. I'm more kind of involved in national stuff and in the nonprofit work that I've done. I just came today because I was very surprised to hear that Airbnb was not allowed in Athens. Most of the country allows these sort of sharing economy arrangements as part of folks using their dwelling. And I understand all of the reasons in terms of both planning and making sure that folks are abiding by the law. But I just wanted to come today and sort of share just a really quick what it means kind of to our family. So Athens is a special place, and my mom just moved here after 10 years of encouragement. She loves Athens, we love her, she's here now. She doesn't have the money to retire away from the Boston area entirely, and so part of her coming here is cobbling together different pieces of things to supplement her retirement. You know, she has freelance clients and she pulls in resources from other places, and that's great. But it was very surprising to hear that Athens wasn't going to allow her to rent a room on occasion when she wanted to, right? And she's not the only one. She's a smart person, a higher education, so on and so forth. In my neighborhood, there are a lot of people who have lived there for 30 years. The taxes have kept going up and up and up. They retired from facilities from OU, as school teachers, so on and so forth. And I don't want party houses in the neighborhood. My goal here is not to open up the floodgates of greed and avarice. It's just to say I would really encourage you to take very seriously the needs of folks who are on the economic edge and who want a little bit of supplemental income. And if they live in the house, they can have a full-time renter. The only person who's going to rent her extra room is going to be a student who's going to degrade the neighborhood and be up late and so on and so forth.
Oh, I thought you were saying she was renting a room when she was here, but she has a house and she was going to rent.
Yeah, she's moving here and she has an extra room, and part of the way she was looking at making
Could she conform to, I mean, I think this is something council ought to take up.
Right.
And so they can hear both sides, because I would bet if you ask down the street, you would find very divergent views. I feel very uncertain about taking it on myself.
Yeah, that's fine. I just don't know what the venue is. I'm not.
I mean, eventually, I think that, but there needs to be a discussion with people who have, well, I don't know. All right.
Sure.
Very compelling. I mean, I go to vacation rental by owners. I've been to B&Bs, but, you know, so I have the experience. I just don't know in my neighborhood.
Yeah, it's just disappointing for me, like, there's a transition in the country towards a sharing economy, and for Athens to be on the wrong side of that and essentially have a sharing ban, I mean, that's, I mean, not
It's
to...
evolving. I think that you're overstating that a little bit, because I think it will evolve. It's just we have to get a handle on it first.
So I'm just here to say
We have 70% rental property right
Sure.
now. I mean, do you know what that means, 70%?
Right. And so in my neighborhood, what that means is that my mother could have a student living in her house 24/7, but can't have a nice couple from Columbus who wants to mountain bike at Sells Park come stay for the weekend. Like, to me, that's I agree. It needs to be aired, it needs to be discussed, it needs to be vetted. But I think it's very important to people that this happen soon, and that we not, I agree. We need to vet it, and I would encourage y'all to, whoever it is that discusses this type of thing, I'm not involved in local politics that much, but this seemed to be talking about bed and breakfast, which seemed to get to people renting a spare room. So that's it for me, unless anybody has any questions.
Ma'am, let's see. Sworn in yet? Can you raise your right hand? And do you promise to tell the truth to the commission as you know it? Thank you very much. Could you state your name and address when you go to the podium, please?
Yes. Hi, I'm Mary Reed. I live at 83 Maplewood Drive. I was a superhost on Airbnb until I got a cease and desist order from the city. We have not hosted since then, including actually to the dismay of some of our neighbors who would like to have their family members be able to stay in our home when they're visiting their family, when their house is full. I guess my question just is what does need to happen for us to properly vet this and move it forward and hopefully make this a legal and a best use of our properties? Because as I'm reading everything that came out in today's handout, in our case, we meet the letter of the law in every regard except the R3. And ultimately, we meet the spirit of the law with the way that we were conducting ours. So is this something, as Nancy was just saying, that really council needs to take up? Is this something that you can advise on here? Is this something where we need to get a community committee together? Because I was experienced at using Airbnb, I think, very successfully and with acceptance of our neighbors. So my question is, what do you think needs to happen to move this forward?
Okay. Process-wise, anything in the zoning code, which is Title 23, which this pertains, goes through the Planning Commission. We put something together. We recommend it to council. Council turns it into law.
Or not.
Or not.
They can change it too.
Mm-hmm.
They can change it. I forget if they need a supermajority or they just have to... Supermajority. We're actually doing baby steps from our point of view. We recognize the fact that we've got Stimson's not. If you read the code, essentially it's on any state route or certain streets that at one time were state routes. Richland, Stimson, East State, Union. Stimson actually wasn't in there. We're trying to add Stimson to accommodate the landlords actually. Owner-occupied structure of it is usually given in the B&Bs. We want to leave that in. Again, Nancy points out we're 70+% rental. Our biggest worry is that we don't, and as right now is a conditional use in R3s only, and then above. But the restriction from my point of view, at least, is that even in a B3, you're still stuck to those main highway routes. When you say, it's not just a question of zoning. In other words, if we don't change that, Maple would still not be allowed to have a B&B. Our concern is that if we just open it up all the way down to R1s, we get a mass migration of, or eliminate the stipulation of owner-occupied. We just get an entire new factor or segment, from my point of view, of rentals. They may be transitory rentals, but they're still turn into rentals or with out-of-state or out-of-city landlords. So therefore, I see the owner-occupied component being very important. I would like, baby step-wise, I could see conceptually going down to R1s and 2s. That's why we're having a discussion about 3 versus 4 people, because in R1 you can only have 3 people living there.
With the definition, right?
Yes, unless we change the definition. So from my point of view, this is the first step to see what the impact is when we say we're going to add Stimson, we're going to open it up a little bit more in terms of the structure. And I'm just speaking as one person here, but the process-wide would be, we make a recommendation to Planning Commission, to council. They would actually either modify it, they could actually put a committee together to, as you say, address it. But as a Planning Commission member, we're very cognizant, I'm cognizant of the fact that anything we put in may have unintended consequences. So process-wise, we make a recommendation, which is what we're trying to nail out, bang out right here. You know, whether we're going to put Stimson in. We got a little bit straight off by the group homes stipulation. Okay, I don't know if I've answered your question or not. So putting a committee together, you know, that'd be possible to do, but...
And I'll be your council member.
I guess on behalf of Mary, I would ask if our recommendation comes forward and is silent to this Airbnb or in residential areas, would the next step for them to go to council when they discuss it?
Absolutely.
To see if modification. In the past, we've made at least one significant recommendation to City Council, and it was voted against. So, like you say, they could modify.
I don't think it's silent to the Airbnb. Just because it has the word air in front of it, it's still B&B.
Okay.
So.
And the locations still apply, regardless. And again, to say let's take it down to R1s or R2s, you basically have to remove all that stipulation where the locations are: Richland, State, Union, etc. Right? Is that the three?
Columbus
Road.
And is that
Yes,
something
owner
you're willing to take on as the Planning Commission, or should I be speaking with my council representatives then? Because of course, I'm experiencing a financial implication for not being able to rent my room. That's why it's a concern of mine to get it resolved. And I think most people in this room know me and know that I'm very concerned about the quality of life in our community. So I actually share probably any concerns that people have about any negative or unintended consequences of this. And there have been some in other cities. So I do think we have to look at it carefully. But I would like us to look at it and resolve it.
Yes, would you like to come forward there?
Can I give a council point of view?
Sure, just come to the podium. I think one of the questions while he's coming to the podium one of the many that I have about the Airbnb in R1s and R2s is
Cut that off.
basically, okay, you move to a neighborhood with the idea, a residential neighborhood with the idea of stability, a sense of control over your immediate environment. You do allow for businesses in R1, R2 as long as traffic. I mean, you can run an operation out of your room, a room in your house, as long as you don't have the through traffic, right? Basically, what's the difference between cars coming in and out on the Airbnb and then not allowing somebody to have regular clients coming to their home at that point? Well, I mean, when we've been talking about consistency, where would that be?
I'm not exactly understand what you're saying, but home occupations are permissible in R1s.
Sure.
That's what he's saying.
Which is what you're saying, and then you're asking about the vehicles coming in and out. I can tell you right now, the ones that are listed on Airbnb, to the best of my knowledge, are all owner-occupied. There are no, and also, the majority of them, if not all of them, that we have discovered, have already got rental permits.
And they're all in R1s and 2s?
And they're all in R1s.
All R1s?
Do they have parking?
If they have a rental permit, they have parking, or they're grandfathered in.
Because...
Well, I think this is why a lot of people have moved out of Athens, is because they don't feel as though that the neighborhoods do protect them, that they can raise families securely, things of that nature. I think that something like this, I appreciate what you're saying, but I also think that you moved into an R1 knowing what the zoning was, in theory, that it wasn't zoned as a business primarily, and that's basically, I think, what I'm hearing with the Airbnb. I mean, you do have, your mother, for instance, has the ability then to rent a room out to somebody year-round. So she just still has that option. You're just talking about, you don't have the transience nature that you do with the Airbnb. So, she does have that option to rent still. It's just not on the nature of people coming in and out of the neighborhood that other people don't know. And while somebody says that, it has to be under owner-occupied scenario, as you pointed out, a lot of bad things have happened in Airbnb situations where the owner was mugged, was robbed. It's quite a bit. I mean, it's certainly enough that the scenarios that you're presenting, you have a lot of pushback on it. You have a lot of pushback certainly in California, other communities. I keep up with some of the California newspapers, and you read a lot about the pushback that other neighbors are presenting. Now, maybe Athens is different.
No, it's not.
And, maybe most of the people who live in this town have kind of given up and just say, well, it's just it's a one big rental, so why not, why can't I make some money out of it? So if that's, the tenor that we're taking now, then maybe, the committee says that, we would like to open up the possibilities of Airbnb legally in R1, R2. But I also think that, the city can experience a negative in terms of the ambiance, the sense of community when you have people going in and out of neighborhoods all the time.
Well, I guess I would say already R1s, R2s can become rentals. And we've already heard that argument, that it can just become
Sometimes
a rental
that's why
versus,
people
having this business.
There's a lot more consistency to an owner-occupant staying for years and having guests versus it becoming a new tenant year after year after year.
And the other thing, to speak to the home-occupied business, that's allowable in an R1. So when you started, I thought you were saying, what is the difference between having visitors in for a weekend versus having the home-occupied business that people come to?
But there are conditions for professional home occupations, in terms of square footage that can be used, how many people can actually be there.
Number of employees,
Right.
entrances, etc.
Yeah.
So why do you have that if you're going to allow, people just to come in and out, for a weekend, for, a few days or what have you?
Further down the line, I can see where we could, if council and planning commission, future planning commission wants to drop it down to R1s and R2s, then you would look at those stipulations. Say what kind of modifications are necessary, what kind of parking would be a requirement. From my point of view, I'm trying to just bite off a small piece right now and see what it looks like. So this is what we're trying to do from my point of view.
Councilman Reisner.
For the record, I'm Jeff Reisner. I'm City Councilman, 2nd Ward, which is the south side. I'm not your representative, but we do have a lot of homes up there. The sense of council, at least from my discussions, I'm vice chair of planning and development, as well as chair of the finance and personnel, is that we would like to get this before council. Whatever you're going to come up with, we'd like to have it. And then we would like to look at it in committee. We could do it under planning and development. We could appoint a committee of the whole. We could appoint an ad hoc committee composed of council people, administration, and residents, both pro and con. We could make it as big or as small as we felt necessary, and then look at it and come up with some recommendations. We, as council, may say, what planning commission's come up with is just, that's great, we'll go along with that, or we may say, no, we don't like this at all. We don't have to take it up. We don't have to pass anything. We're an independent branch of government. We can pretty much do what we choose to do. But all of us says that we need to deal with this. This is an issue. I first started hearing about it the first day I got elected city council. I think it was Kent Butler that came to me and said, hey, there's
Chickens, too.
what are we doing about chickens? Well, yeah, that's not good there. But anyway,
You too.
well, the chickens died. This hasn't, and this is still going to be an issue.
I agree that it's
This is going to be an issue. It's going to be an issue right now. We're into September. That's not a whole lot of time coming up because council right now has got a lot of things on its plate. We're going to find out about that on Monday. We also have budgets and things that are coming up. We've got to get those ready. We've got a lot of things that, yes, there's a lot of stuff that's coming up. So we have a lot on the plate. Now, and we're going to have this too. So
It's supposed to be that way.
yeah, it is. Well, so we're looking probably into the new year where we'd actually be able to throw a, if we choose to go with a committee of the whole or an ad hoc to deal with this. As planning and development, that's 2-3 people. Looking at this, I don't think that's enough people to really thresh this thing through, because this is a complicated issue, and I appreciate all the different concerns. You know, I have my own opinions about it. I'm not going to voice them here, but that's where council stands right now. We want something from Planning Commission, and we want to start working on it. That's a start. Okay. And
Recess before you get it, otherwise.
I think we can get it done in a reasonable length of time, you know, with the right
You
input.
could pass the one part and then decide whether you're going to expand it to first
We
R1s
could.
and R2s.
Yeah, or we could do like the engineer's method of if you have a project, you find all the other possible projects that you could possibly throw into that big project, and you do it all at once. So that may be a way that we might do it. Or we might separate it. But that's where council stands. So
At least one member.
I think I'm pretty much speaking for just about everybody, except maybe possibly one member. So,
Your choice.
there we are.
Thank you very much.
Okay, can I just make one more comment?
Sure.
I think under conditionally permitted use in a B3, we ought to remove that street designation. It wasn't, I don't think it was there before. It was there for the hotels and motels, but I think that it should be permitted as a conditionally permitted use with ingress and egress and the other requirements without the street designation in the R3s. I didn't realize it was in there. I didn't pick up on it.
In the B2s, do you mean?
No, not in the
B3s,
B2s.
R3s.
R3s, I'm sorry.
R3 is a conditionally permitted use.
And then it's by right in B1 and B.
Because I don't see those,
Here.
but this is under B3.
Because as Paul said, it's an
he's saying
empty,
R3.
it's
Starts at R3,
disjointed.
they can
We don't have any R3s that are on those streets, do we? Or at least,
So you're saying originally was crafted for hotels and motels?
I mean, including them, yes. So we don't have to limit the streets. Any R3 is where they could happen. That has the other requirements. And when I was doing this little, it's hard to move.
So
Right.
Nancy, you're just saying that for the R3, the language for C, conditional permitted uses, number 2, would just say owner-occupied bed and breakfast establishments.
Yeah,
They're permitted in R3 zones
yeah.
without
I don't
getting
think you
into
have to have the
specific streets. Okay.
state
Conditionally
laws.
permitted.
Yeah,
Conditionally permitted.
And then the maybe the council will decide they don't want that. I don't know. When I was on the zoning board, they didn't even,
So that's a motion to,
to remove that from the proposal.
is there a second? Okay.
Nobody seconded?
I'll second. So removing the restrictions
The
of the
streets for the, in the,
but making it a
R3.
conditionally permitted use.
retaining the condition.
Retaining the conditionally permitted use.
And,
What about in the B2s then? It has the same
Well,
language.
No, that was added. That was in your recommendation.
I don't
No,
know.
that's right.
I'm just talking about the R3s right now. Jeff wants us to move it.
It's in B1 as well, right? Oh,
No, that
that was
was-
what we were going to add that.
Those were John's recommendations from
Yeah,
last
okay.
month.
But
But see, we did
that solves the Stimson Avenue issue, correct?
Stimson Avenue issue was B3, and if I remember correctly,
I know, it's, zoning map needs to be redone, but who's going to do that?
in a B3, we were saying that it was a permitted use under A1. I mean, just like a hotel would be in a B3 or a motel or pretty much everything permissible.
Well, that would be a major then, because it's on, as a conditional permitted use. And are you talking about R3?
No, I'm talking,
B3, okay. Yeah, that's fine.
But the roadways were put in
B1
B2.
B1.
on B2, we put the roadways in, yes. Starting in B2B is where we said they were permissible, period.
Oh,
That would mean they would be permissible, period, in a B3 as well.
Okay.
So would this get removed from B1 as well? So that resolves that? So
It's not in B1 right now.
Oh, that's what you were trying to tell me, this was
Recommendation
suggested,
from
okay.
August 6th.
Yeah, and B1 is going to be a problem. There's so few of them.
Well,
But it's only on those streets in that area if you want to keep it that way.
Well, East State Street is one place where they would be, and that's there.
yeah.
I don't want to keep it. I mean, I don't care that much about it. I'd like to get the definition down, owner occupied, 3, get it through.
3 or 4? Huh?
No, 3.
3.
I mean, because I think council's going to take it down to 2.
Okay, and then what you're talking about also is the paying definition in terms of transient is a paying transient guest. Okay.
And the inclusion of the rental permit. And I asked John Paskey, I'm glad Mary's gone, but because you have to meet the requirements of inspection, which for some people might, on their private houses, they might have a wake-up call. Do you think? No.
Maplewood's an R1. So.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, if you're doing a rental permit, you've got smoke detector, got carbon monoxide.
No, I don't think it will be, because since we're starting with them only in R3s, that means it's already a rental. I don't know very many owner-occupied, single-family, non-rentals in R3s throughout the city of Athens. I can think of 2.
My fundamental approach in this is to set it up so it's basically a structure, and then council can change the zones if they want to. I mean, I think that's a sound way to do it. And I also think that if they start asking about Maplewood or Sunnyside or any of these other places, they're going to find serious objections on the part of neighbors, even ones that live right next door. They won't say it to your face, but will say it to me. So council can deal with that. They get paid more.
Okay, so
Now, are we saying 30 days, also 30 days,
Yes,
or
that's-
14 days or less?
30. I think it's in the ORC as 30.
yeah. Actually, we can, by definition, make things more restricted.
I'm sorry, it says less than 30,
Okay.
to be really clear.
Consecutive days.
Less than
I
30
mean, how would we
consecutive
enforce
days.
that? We don't. Not we. There's no we in enforcement. Okay, so
So
we're
we're talking 30
resident.
days, or we're saying 14?
Less
Less than 30 days.
As it is in here. It hasn't changed. Basically, the definition 1503.1 is the same.
We just wanted to incorporate that into our definition, right?
Not more than 3
Okay, so
adults.
really the major change I'm hearing from you, Nancy, is getting rid of the street restrictions,
Other than that,
which
yeah.
is C2, taking out this, like the second sentence there, on
In the-
premises in front of street originated. State or federal highway on Richland, East State, West Union, and we were going to add Stimson and Columbus. So that
And we
all
will
comes
in the B2 and B3, or B2 zone, but we won't. We don't need it in R2.
in R3.
R3. I keep looking at R2 there and
Yeah.
saying it.
Okay, you say you want those in the B3, B1s too? No.
No, I don't think there are enough of them to even
Okay, I don't think so.
bother.
Okay.
So should we pull them out of B1 or just leave it there?
Well, those things aren't in.
We're going through this, and this is what we're going to send to council, right?
Yes, as a recommendation.
See
we
if
vote
somebody
on it.
else has an opinion on that.
But I think we do have to keep, if we're going to make these conditionally permitted uses in B1 and B2, like we do have to keep part of that addition. I mean, we do have to mention
B1?
owner-occupied bed and breakfast.
So we cut out the same
Yeah.
section that we would put in there. So you want the
On
addition of
premises.
3, except again, after that dash,
Right.
everything
The
disappears.
question you're going to get asked is in a B2, B2D, B3, do they need to be owner-occupied?
I would lean towards it, yes, but I don't know.
And I would lean toward letting, if they'd like to do it, I would lean toward having them get conditions put on, so that there is consistently a person that's in charge, that's responsible for the premises.
The reason I
And-
ask is because the 2 that we have are, like we said, are not owner-occupied. We've got one of them that's got a temporary variance expiring, in a few months.
And the other one would be non-conforming by
The other
definition.
one, it would be non-conforming, correct?
And that's what the
Brand new
zoning,
area.
that's what the Board of Zoning Appeals does. It gives
Just so I know.
situations a chance to try.
But that means that landlords would have to come back and make their variance permanent.
They have a conditional use permit that's 1 year, you said.
That's correct. They would have to come back, and it was a temporary conditional use.
And it was only for the road.
It was for a bed and breakfast period, yeah, and a B, in general. I mean, it wasn't just a road. It was,
I mean, not to second guess the zoning board, but it's an ideal circumstance. The person who owns the house or owns the building is working in it almost every day. I mean, what better example?
I understand, but they
Okay.
still would have to come back
Pay
together.
your money or take your chance.
Wait a second. You want to eliminate the owner-occupied section?
I do not want
I
to.
do not either. Okay.
No.
Because when you say the person's working there, that's no guarantee.
I'm
they're
talking
business.
about the variance that was granted. I have no problem with that variance, but I don't want to have it govern everything else that happens in town, because I think it's a bad practice.
I agree.
Because they could they could sell out and rent the
Yeah.
bottom out to another owner, or another store.
They were, yeah, and they, you know, it could easily convert back to student rental housing. It's designed for that.
Got a permit for that. So it's not like it's going back. It already could be.
No, I mean, going from a bed and breakfast to a,
Rental, which we're going to require them to have the same permit. So that can happen in any of these. If you're going to say they have to have a rental permit, any one of these can do that.
well, I mean, their choice, right? Not our
I'm
choice.
just trying to, you just said that they could go back, and I'm just saying, yes, they
Well, I
can.
mean, they could if they wanted to. It's their choice. They pay their money, they pay.
So then what about in the B2Ds and the B3s? Should those be owner occupied?
I'm worried about it.
Yeah, I think so. You don't think so?
I don't know. I
Are you
mean,
looking at me?
Yeah, poker face.
I don't have a poker face.
I know.
I have not. I'm kind of reserving too much comment because, as you know, I don't live in these neighborhoods. But I have not seen yet that bed and breakfasts cause a demise of a neighborhood. So I actually think they're rather quaint.
it depends, well,
Okay. So if we get somebody who buys a whole swath of houses on Columbia,
Again.
doesn't live there, starts doing B&Bs there down the road, categorization of B&Bs, it's okay.
I'm just, again, if they have to have a rental permit as established here, they would have to have a local contact. And
yeah, but the
the
local
other,
contract, I mean, the local contact is pretty flimsy if it's the weekend.
not necessarily during the
police
middle
get
of the
it?
fire. Yeah, we
Have you ever
have
had difficulty
contacts and-
contacting some of the landlords in a problem situation?
We have to track them down. We can get them.
we
But
can-
I'm not saying that there hasn't been one or two, but
Well, they'll call
there's
the
the same one or
police.
two. I don't see those being the people that would have tried to do this anyway.
One of the requests here that we had previously was in order to not turn their house into a rental, full-time 365.
Well, why couldn't you do it in the summer? I mean, turn
That's
your,
what I'm concerned.
you know, you didn't find a student to lease during the summer, and you're open, and you want to fill
You
it.
mean subletting?
Well, subletting, but I mean,
Already.
well, I understand that, but I'm talking about if you're talking about
There's no
transient,
B3.
where somebody's coming in for a weekend, somebody's coming in for a week or two.
It's already
There's no
happening.
B3?
Okay.
Some of the Coats Run advertises rooms that are not rented out for football games, for parents to come and stay in. University Courtyard's doing it. It's happening at every large complex within the city already.
And they have resident managers, so it's not a problem.
Are we collecting transient guest tax?
Probably
Don't
not.
know. I just found out they're doing this as well, and it opens up a whole other can of worms as well. But I know they're doing it. University does it with visiting professors. They're doing it with people come in and do lectures, stay in properties they own. They have rental permits with us. Should those folks be, but they're probably getting free housing, so it's probably not an issue, but
Conditionally permitted use.
Scared
I was just wondering, this debate about rental permits, could not the bed and breakfasts be issued a special rental permit, which just simply applies to bread and breakfast, and if there's no transient guests, I can't have a full-time guest or renter.
But you're still responsible for the transient guest tax.
Oh, absolutely, yes, yes. I mean, I think council would agree that these are businesses. This is not a hobby. If you're going to get into the bread and breakfast business, you are a business owner, and you pay the taxes, and you get the necessary permits and the necessary inspections and everything that goes along with a business.
But, all right, so that would mean that they have to have a CO detector, they have to have a smoke detector in every bedroom.
Yes.
That would mean that they have CFF or grounded outlets.
Yes.
Okay, I mean, so that's what
It's a
we were
business.
doing. We didn't call it a rental.
Again, it's not a hobby. This is just something I just want to get in the...
I agree.
Yeah.
But I think...
It has to be up front. People have to realize this. If you're going to get into this, you're going to have to treat it seriously.
Essentially, all houses are supposed to be up to code.
Right.
We just don't enforce the owner-occupied one, because the concept there is that it's, the owner will take care of himself and is aware of the idiosyncrasies of the house.
So I think that's not a bad idea. I don't think we just went to rental permits because there's an established pattern.
Right.
What do you think about that, John?
Same inspection for us,
But would you have a separate file for them?
Well, we could, but there would be many houses that have both. I can tell you that.
They would buy both, or they would have both?
I guarantee you, if they already have a rental permit, maybe if they're grandfathered in, they'll keep that permit. The most common question we're getting, in all honesty, is what I've said, and we may be getting challenged on it very soon too, just so you're aware. I've sent some stuff through the law director's office. Is a person that has a rental permit, they're wanting to know why they can't rent it out to different people on different weekends. That's what every one of these cases that I'm talking about, that's the biggest. Yeah, we got the Airbnbs, but we didn't even know they existed. So people don't even know they have them. The ones we're getting the complaints on, not complaints, but the questions from property owners are, I've already got a rental permit. Who says I have to rent it to this person for 30 days to a year?
I have to agree. I like this idea of a special permit for bed and breakfast because in order to capture the tax.
To capture the tax, we would know which houses have them. Yes, that is absolutely true.
Are they owner-occupied, these hypothetical cases you're talking about?
The ones I'm talking about, they want to no.
See, the problem is then you're allowing...
I'm not allowing.
No, I mean...
So we're shutting them down right
that's
now.
That's why we have to get this going, I think, because I do think that there is that attitude. I've heard landlords say that. I have a rental permit, I can do what I please with it. But they have a responsibility to the neighbors, because...
And the taxes.
And the taxes as well. And they could be... I mean, you could have people coming down for Halloween and commit mayhem, renting this place out, and I think it's a good chance in some cases that will happen. I think we ought to send it forward.
That would mean that the house is vacant the rest of the time?
I'm not worried about the landlords making money.
No, when you say that all these people coming down for the Halloween and taking over a house, that would mean the house is vacant the rest of the time.
No, I don't. I would say it's more a problem in the summer. But you were giving me the example, and this is going on too long, of somebody who wanted to rent it to different people at different times. Yeah.
Okay. Somebody else has to play chair. Who wants to play chair?
Can we just move to...
I think you had a motion, didn't you? And a second right there, right?
I don't know. That was for the tower.
Lord,
That was for the tower.
I think you...
It was for what?
Oh, it was to delete the business thing.
Oh, strike the street names, okay.
Yeah,
So
just for the
did we
business.
vote on that?
No. Oh, they want you right now.
Okay, so there's a motion and a second to strike out the street requirements for the section, right?
Correct.
Okay, I was going to cover for you while you're busy.
Okay, let's vote.
Sorry about that.
So, and I know you have to leave.
All in favor?
Okay. So, you want to do the all in favor? This is your last chance here.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye. Okay.
It's unanimous.
Yes. Okay. You want to, I guess I'll take over unless you want to, Nancy.
You can.
No, you're fine.
Okay. So the next thing we want to slug out is what we want to make a recommendation to council on. We have at this point the sections where we talk about transient guest tax, 1503. We have the next section after that, which is permitted uses for R1s with a a definition of residential healthcare facilities, which I believe you also have in your packet, an opinion from the law director.
So we're doing this piecemeal?
No, we're going to do the
No,
whole thing.
I'm going to go over every part that I see yellow,
Oh,
okay?
okay.
And see what's in there that
And we
needs to be
have
changed.
And then we're going to vote in,
30
Yes,
Okay.
or vote it down.
or not.
Okay.
Okay, so
Or split, we may have a tie, who knows? Go ahead, Nancy.
oh, we don't have 5. Okay, can we go through this and say changing 1503B?
Yes, what
Just
about
say
it?
it. Okay, I'm going to make a motion then since you took over that. All right, I'm going to move that we make the changes in the code as follows. 1503 transient guest tax to include the language as written except that 3 or less rooms instead of 4. This is, we haven't, okay.
Shall we
then-
vote on that?
No, let's do them all, unless you think it's a problem.
Do you think it's a problem?
No.
Only if it's an ORC issue.
Can you repeat that, Nancy?
We're just going through and for the record saying what we want to change because that's the way
Right.
Debbie's going to send it to them. Then I'd like to also include 230401.
No,
6.
I'm sorry, Nancy. I thought for 1503, you said that you wanted the
To
language.
remove it to 3.
Or less, or 3 or more? 3 or less means anything above,
Rooms, 3 rooms.
for transient accommodation?
That's what we've, I think the mayor and I are both
Okay.
pretty adamant about that.
Okay.
Do you want to
I'm
just,
indifferent, but I think it's a good idea.
okay. 1503, then should we just do that one separately?
I understand now. I'm sorry. I was confused, but I forgot that there was the hotel above it that covers 5 or more.
Or should we just go through, we're just going to go through and send
The
the,
biggest problem is that gap of 4. That's, I think,
Right.
what would
It is-
not-
and it's a
It makes sense
non-problem.
in my head now.
okay, residential health care, the number is 230401A6.
Okay.
We add a new definition. I assume we're taking out the old one somewhere. Yes, we're doing that. And we've never really discussed the one about rentals.
Renter versus rentals.
I always
Okay.
felt that was a typo. I could be
Okay.
wrong, but it just, I never understood that. Renters. How is a renter a permitted accessory use?
Okay, we can
Rentals.
I'm convinced. We'll change the language, the
typo.
label, the label.
The label.
That would be 230401A
No.
B5.
B5, thank you.
Bingo.
All right, 230403 R3, delete apartment houses, lodging houses, boarding houses, and so on, and add under C, owner-occupied bed and breakfast establishments, simply.
Striking out all the rest of it.
Yes,
That's
and
really
which is all just because it's not the,
Okay.
And then also this in the same area, but that would be 230403A
See?
C, I mean, thank you. Thank you. We're going to
Just
add,
confusing real quick, doesn't it?
strike out residential healthcare facilities as
And again, that's because the other section we've added.
we've added, okay?
Nancy,
Continuing, yeah?
we have to do renumbering after those. As
So we
well.
strike that whole
If we're
thing out.
striking out,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure
3.
Debbie will do it. I
Okay,
mean,
just wanna
you know,
make sure we're-
she usually is the one that,
just want to make sure we're on the same page.
230404 B, conditionally permitted use. Did we decide to put that in or no?
This is for B1s. I think we just wanted to keep it in there, except strike out the street restrictions.
Okay.
But that's where we were.
That's
with
where
that.
we are, okay.
Right, so-
We've been back and forth.
So
a
it's
few times.
conditionally allowed in a B1 is an owner-occupied bed and breakfast.
Sorry, you having trouble getting this, or you're getting it? Okay. Okay. Then we have 230405, Business District B2, and we add bed and breakfast establishments, and we have already the places, the avenues listed, but we're adding Stimson and Columbus Road.
We're taking
I
those
thought we were
out.
leaving the road designations out of all the zoning.
And I just did R3.
R3 and
Okay,
B1.
then
Well, I'm not in, you want to, all right, let's
that
stop.
was
Where
my
was the B2
understanding of
district
what we
that's
were
on this
doing.
Me too, Christy. I got lost. I thought you wanted the delineation of
I
those
only
streets.
wanted R3.
Watch out, you got the mic on.
He's got to go with her, yeah.
I gotta find B.
Only B2 we have is on Richland, I believe.
It's that green color.
Right. The lime green.
Lime green.
Okay,
Richland
this
Avenue.
is it right here. It goes all the way out to
Or Kelly Green, I guess.
Yeah.
the budget in and includes Kimes.
It's a very small section.
Yeah, so maybe we should, it is in that zone, so it's kind of redundant, but should we?
So Richland Avenue?
Yeah, it doesn't, so we should just say,
I mean, it doesn't. It's not applicable.
Yeah.
Could be in the future for rezoning. I don't
Yeah.
know what it means.
I don't know, let's leave it as it is.
If you leave it as is with the streets in there, that makes the one that's on there conforming.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the next one, and then we have 260403 B2D, downtown, and then we're looking at B, bed and breakfast,
Yeah.
and
That's an addition.
That is additional. It wasn't addressed before.
If you go back to the one before, too, you missed a section. If you noticed that we moved...
I missed a section, we
Oh,
better.
no,
No, 230405,
Hotels and motels.
hotels, motels are now
B1s.
permitted in
Right where you
B1,
are.
which would make them stacked permissible in B2, B3. And now,
Added that, and then this is added. That's
right here.
Oh, okay.
That's B2.
I thought they were already in.
Oh, B2, I'm sorry, B2.
Yeah.
No, before they were conditionally use only, just like the bed and breakfast. So I went ahead and broke out the hotels and motels as their own thing, which,
Definitely, and rightly so, because they're totally different structures.
Okay.
Okay, so that's, and
So
then...
you're up to B2D right
I'm
now.
up to B2D, now I'm going to definitions, and we're having bed and breakfast, and we have the parking requirement there, and the rental permit requirement there. I hope it also would fall in 99. And we need to have paying, instead to paying, we're restoring paying transient guests, and a maximum stay of no more than 30 days. Not less than 30 days, I don't know how it's set.
Yeah, I think
Char,
no more than
find it.
30 days is right.
if I may, the one, we go back that I want to clarify, starting in the B2D, bed and breakfasts are permissible there and in B3, but are they required to be owner occupied in those zones?
Well, I think if the definition, if you have to return
definition.
to the definition, it
It's
says
owner.
owner occupied.
It does,
yes.
right.
That would be,
I would keep that.
Okay.
B2D.
Yes.
For
Until
B2D,
we find another way.
Are you getting into specific streets for B2D? Or
No.
is it just saying they're permitted? Okay.
but they still need to be owner occupied. And
Right now.
I'm asking that because that means landlords will have to come back and get a permanent condition or a permanent variance for their property on a B3.
Yes.
Are we in B3?
Well,
didn't show any
if you
change.
start in B2D, it's stacked or nested, whatever you want to call it, so.
Yeah,
it'll
that's the way
apply.
it's written, but I didn't
Yeah.
see anything in B3.
No, but-
well, but any, like, when we define bed and breakfast as owner occupied, like anywhere that appears in the code, that's going to,
It's automatically stating,
Indicate
starting in
owner
B2D,
occupied.
that is permissible in B2D, B3, and M, but they have to be owner occupied.
Or get a variance.
For only.
They'll have to get a variance because they're not owner occupied. The
Yes.
street's going to be okay now, but they'll need a variance because they're not owner occupied.
Unless it was already granted as that.
Don't think so.
Well, you can check the language then, I guess.
I would say I want to keep that in, owner occupied dwelling, regardless of what zone at this point. Just
Okay.
as a starting point. We can always move it
Yeah.
to make it,
There may be-
some
As long
hotels.
as I know, okay.
Okay, so B3 is already included. Are we going to, and then we have the definition, so we're including 231001 definition, bed and breakfast home. We talked about the two changes to that. You get that, Char? 3? Thank you.
The paying ends 30 days.
Yeah, and bed and breakfast is, we didn't ever have in there, so that's deleted. And that, I think we're done.
Okay, and I see, essentially, this will also be duplicated in Title 99 as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so the 23 definitions and the 99 definitions will be the same.
Yeah, we hope.
Okay, that's a motion.
That's a motion.
I second.
Any more discussion that needs to be dealt with this? We'll approve it or not, and then it'll work its way to council to massage it and
Yeah.
address it.
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, 4-0. Great. Well,
So if you send it that way, Shar, I think she'll know how to package it for
Did you
them
get it?
with all that. Yeah, okay. You don't have to put all the other parts in. At least that's...
Okay. Any other discussions on bed and breakfast? Any other communications at this point?
When are we
Reports?
meeting?
No? Yes?
No, when are we meeting?